When you walk into a boxing gym, the number one thing that you find out right away is everyone here has a story. We're all here because something brought us through those doors. You learn to control your mind and release the toxicity that has been put on you, and you place it into the ring, and you learn how to turn that violence into art, and then it becomes beautiful. Indigenous people shine in this sport, but Black people shine in this sport as well because of everything that has been placed in front of them. All those ancestors and everything that they went through, that's what makes up my DNA. It makes me such a strong person just with the blood that just flows through your body. So it's a beautiful thing.
Go! Jab! 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 1, 2.
Indigenous people are naturally gifted in strength, and I will 100% stand by that. Indigenous people have always tested their limits. Boxing falls right in that.
Go!
You need physical endurance, you need mental endurance, and you need to be able to be a you versus you type of mentality. And that's what started to break me out of my shell, because I was able to release what I was just holding in. And when I did that and I released that energy, I fell in love with the sport instantly.
Backwards up the stairs, you're doing great.
Natteal is the most kindest person that I know. Then she can switch things up. Right? When the bell rings and when she goes into that fight mode, she could transform into a vicious animal. Each individual that comes into this gym has been treated really bad. They're all coming to me because they feel alone. We all learn to be able to defend ourselves and put a stop to every obstacle that was thrown at us. And I knew from the life experiences that she had, she doesn't give up. The grit that she has, people will spend so much time training and maybe never even get it. The fighter she is she's got it.
I was born in Boston, Massachusetts. I moved to Nova Scotia in 2000. At that point in my life, I was moving to Canada to reconnect with my mom's side of the family, which is my First Nation side of the family. When I first moved to Canada, life had kind of flipped upside down. I was exposed to a lot of violence, a lot of sexual violence at such a young age, and moving into an Indigenous community and having that done to me, it's a reality for a lot of children that they go through that. When I look at the individuals that did what they did to me, it was done to them. It was done to their parents, because their parents were children in the residential schools having that stuff done to them. You have people who are now elders that still have never talked about residential schools, and that's such a normal pattern. I developed that coping mechanism to just not talk about it. Holding it in is what brought me down such a rough road as a child. Life on the reserve was definitely different than life in the projects. We're very faced with the similar things of poverty and, crime and things like that, but I was automatically excluded from a lot of things. The reserve had a bad rep for people who didn't live on the reserve, so it wasn't like I could have school friends that wanted to come and hang out with me on the reserve because their parents wouldn't let their children on the reserve. Because I'm 50% Black and 50% Native, there was never a time where one of those identities didn't prevent me in a certain situation. I didn't do sports and stuff in school. I wasn't in the right social class to get into those type of sports. So when I did get into boxing, it was something that was very individualist. I don't have to work with a team that doesn't like me because of factors I can't control. I'm pushing myself as hard as I can push myself in a sport where it's me versus me. And it was the first workout, like just the release of everything and just realizing like, hey, I'm actually naturally good at this, and having that reaffirmation from the coach saying, yeah, that's really good. That was perfect. I was able to talk back to the thought in my mind and say, no, I'm going to make it through this 2-minute round. I'm not giving up. That was the first time I've ever challenged my mind in that sense. And when I did that and I released that energy, it was an amazing feeling. Once boxing was introduced to my life, there was no more bullying that was going on. I felt more power to defend myself, not in a violent way, but mentally be able to say, no, I'm not letting that person have that power over me. When it comes to intergenerational trauma, you have to identify it within yourself first. What are the things that you're going to be bringing into your relationship with your child? What traumas have you not addressed inside of your life that I may be putting onto her? So actually, when I was pregnant with her, that was my first time ever speaking up about it. Once you can watch yourself and your trauma that you've went through, and you know what things trigger it when you're projecting it and when you're not healed from it, then you can start to say, okay, I'm not going to put this on my daughter because she doesn't deserve that. So I'm going to stop it at my generation, and I'm going to do that homework within myself to make sure that that's not something I'm continuing. Everyone here really supported me in having Nevi grow up in the gym where it's now home. I had a fear that exposing her to boxing at such a young age might entice violence, but it really has done the opposite. She is such a confident girl, and everyone just gives love. She's just turned into such a caring person, which really every boxer has such a caring heart. It's just they also have a story of what brought them here, and they healed through boxing. So it's beautiful having her in the gym. You never know, you guys might be interviewing her in a few years.